Something just shifted in the world of NBA YoungBoy, and almost no one saw it coming. For months, even years, he had been a constant subject of speculation, rumors, and fan theories, but this time it was different. For the longest stretch, he stayed completely silent. No posts, no comments, no Instagram stories or subtle captions, nothing at all. Just a quiet presence that contrasted sharply with the growing storm of online discussion. And that silence. It was louder than anything anyone could have imagined. The whispers began innocuously. Small jokes on comment sections, playful references in TikTok captions, a few memes here and there. Casual observers might have brushed them off as typical fan humor. But then the whispers started connecting, forming a subtle pattern. Threads emerged on Twitter, now X, debating details no one could fully verify. And gradually, that small trickle of online chatter snowballed into a torrent. TikToks racked up millions of views, reaction videos multiplied, and fans argued endlessly over one central question. Is NBA YoungBoy hiding something? Was there something unspoken he wasn't telling us? It didn't happen overnight. This wave built slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, like a low tide swelling beneath the surface before anyone realizes a storm is coming. People expected a response. A tweet, a subtle Instagram story, even a casual remark in a live stream, anything that would shut down speculation. But nothing came, just unbroken silence. And that absence of engagement only made the conversation grow louder. In the digital age, when someone of YoungBoy's profile doesn't respond, the internet doesn't move on. It fills the void itself. It digs, it parses, it constructs narratives to occupy the empty space. Fans and detractors alike began analyzing every past interaction for hints. Old interviews were scrutinized line by line. Random clips from years ago were replayed, slowed down, and dissected. Even lyrics once meant to entertain or reflect personal struggles were now treated as coded messages, evidence of a larger, hidden truth. A laugh that once seemed carefree in a live session was suddenly awkward or evasive. A brief interaction with a friend or associate became suspect. Every movement, pause, or gesture was reinterpreted to fit the theory trending that day. The phenomenon is classic. Perception becomes reality. Once the hunt for signs begins, people find them everywhere, regardless of intent. This was YoungBoy's first encounter with the internet's insatiable curiosity. His career has always existed at the intersection of visibility and controversy. Legal battles, high-profile relationships, public feuds, diss tracks, they've all ensured that his name remains trending. Fans are used to seeing him in the headlines. But this wave, it was different. Unlike previous cycles tied to music releases or publicized drama, this one hit at a personal, almost intimate level. It wasn't about a new album or court case. It was about speculation surrounding his private life, a rare breach into territory most celebrities manage to protect. And when the internet smells the personal, it spreads faster than anything tied purely to professional output. As chatter grew, more voices joined the fray. Jokes for clout, serious analyses, and casual commentary merged into one cacophony of opinion. Polls appeared across fan pages. Do you think it's true? Reaction channels dissected every frame, comparing clips, isolating words, slowing down audio, analyzing tone, and interpreting body language. Even casual observers who barely followed YoungBoy's music got drawn in, simply because the narrative was everywhere. Through it all, YoungBoy remained silent. No clapbacks, no subtle hints hidden in captions, no engagement with trending topics. And that silence, it became a character in its own right. One camp saw it as strength, a refusal to dignify rumors. Another saw it as telling. If it wasn't true, why not deny it? That silence fed every theory, giving wings to speculation. Fans split quickly into recognizable camps. Defenders insisted it was just another attempt to drag him down, a familiar pattern in his career. Critics, on the other hand, began compiling what they called receipts, old clips, interviews, lyrics, even casual live interactions that seemed in hindsight to align with the current wave of speculation. Arguments raged across comment sections, Twitter threads, and private group chats. Every lyric became a clue. Every look, gesture, and inflection was reinterpreted to support someone's theory. The internet had effectively transformed into a courtroom where everyone acted as judge, jury, and executioner. The line between fact and conjecture blurred, replaced with narratives fueled by attention, confirmation bias, and projection. Then came the turning point. A short, seemingly casual clip surfaced. It wasn't dramatic or staged. It appeared candid, as if captured by someone holding a phone duri. An ordinary moment. At first glance, it seemed innocuous. But once the online community tied it to the ongoing speculation, the clip took on a life of its own. Some interpreted it as a subtle denial. Others read it as an indirect confirmation. Tone, inflection, timing, and even background sounds became fodder for debate. People analyzed frame by frame, wondering if the slight hesitation, the half smile, or the pause before speaking meant something more. The ambiguity fueled more speculation than clarity ever could. The clip didn't resolve anything. Instead, it intensified the conversation. Replays flooded social media feeds, looping endlessly for detailed analysis. Comments like, "He didn't deny it directly," or "Listen to how he said that, it sounds like confirmation," multiplied like wildfire. Fans created side-by-side comparison videos, compiling multiple clips and dissecting gestures or expressions for hidden meaning. What began as a simmering discussion transformed into a full-blown frenzy. The story leapt beyond the original fanbase and infiltrated mainstream feeds, pulling in outsiders who offered fresh perspectives, new takes, and even contrarian theories. What made this moment so explosive was how it aligned with YoungBoy's public image. From the beginning, his appeal has been rooted in raw, unfiltered honesty. Whether it was in his music, live streams, or public interactions, he appeared unpolished, unpredictable, and transparent in a way that most artists aren't. Fans felt connected because his content seemed real, genuine, and unguarded. But that very openness is a double-edged sword. Every inconsistency, every unexplained gesture or vague statement becomes fodder for speculation. His relatability, so often an asset, became a magnifying glass under which the smallest details were scrutinized, weaponized, and woven into broader narratives. And then there's the effect of silence in the digital age. YoungBoy didn't respond to the rumors or comment directly, and that lack of engagement magnified every signal, every nuance. Silence became louder than words. For some, it was a sign of strength. He refused to participate in petty disputes, focusing instead on music and personal matters. For others, it was avoidance, a tacit acknowledgement that the rumors might hold water. The internet thrived on that ambiguity, creating discussions fueled by projection, bias, and interpretation. It was a textbook example of modern digital dynamics. The void invites speculation, and speculation creates engagement. As the clip circulated, things escalated. The energy shifted from slow-burn curiosity to instantaneous frenzy. Platforms erupted with debate, duets, stitched videos, and reaction posts. What was once a fan-driven curiosity became a cultural phenomenon. Even casual viewers who barely knew YoungBoy's catalog were pulled in. The story wasn't about music anymore. It was about identity, perception, and access to someone's personal narrative. People weren't just observing. They were participating, creating content, offering analysis, and contributing to an ever-evolving, self-propelling conversation. Then, as if to further complicate matters, older clips resurfaced. A casual remark made years ago, once ignored, suddenly seemed prescient. Fans connected the dots, framing it as a subtle hint, evidence of an ongoing pattern. The interpretation didn't matter as much as the narrative it fueled. Before long, social media feeds were filled with comparisons. The old clip next to the new, side by side, suggesting continuity, intention, and hidden messaging. With every new post, the sense of an overarching, concealed story grew. Fans felt they were uncovering a conspiracy, a carefully constructed thread linking moments from the past to the present. The situation escalated further with leaked audio. A supposed voice note circulated widely. Authenticity was questionable. No one could verify it definitively, but it sounded enough like YoungBoy to convince large segments of the online community. In the audio, he sounded calm but irritated, saying, "People gonna say what they wanna say anyway. I ain't gotta explain myself to nobody." That line, whether authentic or not, was seized upon as evidence that he was indirectly addressing the rumors. Debate erupted instantly. One faction insisted it was proof he was subtly confirming suspicions. Another called it fake, claiming it was an older clip misused for drama. Regardless of authenticity, the conversation multiplied, pulling in even more observers who had previously stayed on the sidelines. The narrative grew beyond the words themselves. A phrase began trending quietly, then everywhere. Simple but powerful, he never actually denied it. It encapsulated the entire phenomenon. The focus wasn't on what YoungBoy said, but what he refused to say. Silence in this context wasn't passive, it became the loudest statement. It fed every theory, empowered every interpretation, and kept the specula alive indefinitely. And then came a live session, unannounced, spontaneous. Thousands flooded in within minutes, comments scrolling so fast they blurred. Viewers braced for clarity, expecting an explanation, a confession, or at least a denial. YoungBoy appeared relaxed, speaking casually at first about mundane topics. But then he paused, looked directly into the camera, and dropped a line that was heavy with implication yet deliberately vague. No confirmation, no outright denial. Just something that could be read as a message if the audience wanted it to be. Moments later, he switched topics, leaving everyone in suspense. The live didn't resolve anything. It amplified the confusion tenfold. Millions interpreted the same moment in completely different ways, proving that interpretation had become the dominant currency. Just as fans began to process the live session, a new rumor emerged, more personal than any previous iteration. It suggested that the surface-level debates were missing a deeper story, one rooted in private experiences, relationships, or internal struggles. If even part of this rumor proved true, everything that had come before suddenly looked like misdirection. The digital landscape felt like quicksand, shifting under the feet of everyone observing. Narratives that seemed stable were revealed as fragile, temporary constructions, constantly evolving as new information, or perceived information, surfaced. By this point, the story had transcended NBA YoungBoy himself. It had become a case study in modern celebrity, digital culture, and the psychology of attention. Each clip, comment, meme, and repost became a thread in a sprawling tapestry of speculation, engagement, and obsession. Millions weren't just spectators. They were active participants, analysts, critics, and co-creators of the unfolding narrative. The moment also highlighted the unique power of silence. In an era where every celebrity feels pressured to respond to every whisper, YoungBoy's refusal to clarify became a strategic tool, intentionally or not. The clip that finally broke the surface didn't tame speculation, it unleashed it in new directions. From perception to projection, rumor to reality, one short moment had reshaped public discourse, demonstrating how ambiguity can dominate attention far more effectively than clarity ever could. And yet the story is far from complete. More clips could surface, more private interactions could leak, and YoungBoy could address the situation at any moment, or choose to maintain silence indefinitely. The internet's appetite for interpretation is insatiable. Every word, every gesture, every unexplained action becomes a puzzle piece, feeding ongoing debates, analyses, and conspiracy theories. Even casual observers are drawn in, compelled by the human desire to uncover patterns and understand hidden motives. Ultimately, the saga underscores a critical truth about the digital age. Silence is never empty. In fact, silence can be louder than the most pointed statements. By choosing not to respond, YoungBoy allowed the story to grow organically, fueled by speculation, projection, and interpretation. And when the ambiguous clip finally emerged, it didn't resolve anything. It provided just enough fuel to keep the debate burning hotter than ever. Fans remain divided. Some believe YoungBoy is masterfully manipulating the narrative, keeping curiosity alive while protecting himself from direct scrutiny. Others insist it's just human instinct, a young artist avoiding unnecessary controversy. Others still see it as both, a mix of strategic silence and genuine restraint. Regardless of perspective, the effect is undeniable. The conversation isn't slowing down. It's expanding, branching into new territories, reaching new audiences and inviting new voices into the discourse. And that ultimately is what makes this moment so remarkable. NBA YoungBoy's silence, the clips, the old references, and the live session combine to form a phenomenon that is more than rumor. It's a digital age narrative in motion. It's a lesson in perception, in projection, and in how control over narrative can be exercised as much by what isn't said as by what is. Fans may never know the full truth, but that uncertainty has proven to be more captivating than any clear-cut explanation ever could be. In the end, the saga is a reminder that in today's culture, every gesture, glance, and phrase matters. Every omission becomes a statement. Every pause carries weight. And every ambiguous moment is magnified into something far greater than the sum of its parts. NBA YoungBoy didn't just survive this wave of speculation. He transformed it into a narrative that will continue to captivate, divide, and intrigue long after the immediate frenzy fades. The story isn't over. It's evolving, and the internet is still trying to catch up. The chaos surrounding NBA YoungBoy didn't remain contained to the core fanbase. What began as whispers and subtle speculation and in comment sections gradually erupted, spilling over into the broader music industry, crossing into spaces where influence, perception, and timing all intersect. Subtle posts began appearing from rappers, influencers, and bloggers, not naming YoungBoy directly, but their timing was too coincidental to ignore. One artist tweeted, "Y'all gotta stop forcing narratives on people's lives," a line that seemed innocuous at first glance. Another posted, "If someone don't speak on it, that don't mean what you think." Neither statement referenced YoungBoy explicitly, yet the internet connected the dots instantly, reading between lines and interpreting tone. The vague commentary became coded support or carefully veiled shade, depending on who was reading. Blogs and entertainment news sites caught on immediately. Headlines escalated from casual rumors to full-blown controversy. Once the word controversy appears, the story has officially scaled. It's no longer idle speculation. It's newsworthy, a spectacle demanding attention. It wasn't long before an alleged insider entered the discussion. Not some random troll or anonymous account, but someone claiming proximity to YoungBoy's inner circle. Their input didn't confirm or deny any core speculation. Instead, they reframed the narrative entirely. "Y'all focusing on the wrong thing. This ain't even about that." They painted the situation as pressure from the endless online scrutiny, from fans and observers defining his life through snippets and assumptions, from the expectation that someone in the public eye must respond to every whisper. For a brief moment, this angle resonated, providing context beyond the rumor itself. Suddenly, the saga was less about uncovering hidden truths and more about the toll of constant interpretation and the demands of living under a magnifying glass. But as always, calm never lasts online. Before anyone could fully digest that angle, another clip surfaced, one that carried a different energy entirely. It was more serious, with no traces of playfulness. In it, YoungBoy stared at the camera with exhaustion and frustration etched across his face, voice low but intense, as though he had been observing the circus unfold for far too long. The words he spoke were ambiguous, yet the emotion landed with heavy clarity. Fans interpreted it as a sign he was fed up. "Y'all pushed him here. He don't even want to talk anymore." The clip prompted an unprecedented divide. Some stepped back, questioning whether the relentless scrutiny had gone too far. Others doubled down, insisting that emotion wasn't denial and that he still hadn't offered a direct response. Factions multiplied, creating a digital battlefield where everyone claimed to see the truth, yet every interpretation differed. Then came whispers about unreleased content. The rumor mill suggested more clips, more footage, moments waiting to drop. If true, what had surfaced was only the opening act. Situations like this rarely fade. They mutate, evolve, and draw in new layers, pulling in fresh angles and participants. The biggest question wasn't even about past speculation. It was what might happen next. Another leak, insider escalation, a direct statement. Any new content could shift the controversy from a simmering storm into a full-blown meltdown. In the digital age, silence is rarely empty. Sometimes it is the loudest statement. YoungBoy didn't respond to every whisper or rumor, yet his actions, or deliberate inactions, ensured that attention, debate, and speculation remained unbroken. Every clip, voice note, and deleted thread added texture to the narrative, creating layers that demanded analysis and interpretation. The saga illustrates a key truth about modern celebrity. Controlling the conversation isn't always about speaking. It's about timing, presence, and often silence. And so the story continues. The chaos, the speculation, the debates, the deleted accounts, and philosophical statements have reshaped the conversation around NBA YoungBoy. Whether it will conclude with clarity or expand further remains unknown. What is certain is that the internet, once set in motion, has created a living ecosystem around this moment. YoungBoy sits at its center, largely silent, moving forward on his own terms. Fans, skeptics, and observers alike are left to interpret, project, and debate endlessly. In this way, the saga demonstrates the enduring power of ambiguity, attention, and digital culture in shaping perception. A phenomenon that once started refuses to fade quickly, if at all. All right, let's get real for a minute. After unpacking this whirlwind, it's clear that this saga isn't simple, neat, or wrapped in a bow. It's messy, ongoing, and layered. The question that's hanging over the internet: did NBA YoungBoy address the rumors effectively, or did he craft calculated ambiguity to evade being pinned down? Was it a plea for privacy, a philosophical reflection, or something deeper we're still scratching the surface of? The web is split. Some argue that his calm statement flips everything on its head, while others insist nothing changed at all. Personally, it's hard to pin down, and that's exactly the point. The ambiguity is the strategy, intentional or instinctual. Drop your take in the comments. I'm reading all of them. This debate has ballooned beyond a simple rumor. If you've made it this far, hit that like button, because this is one of those stories that evolves in real time. For more breakdowns, viral dives, and deep drama dives, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell. The next twist could be anything: a clip, a statement, a surprise appearance, and when it hits, we'll cover it instantly. This saga has momentum, and the next chapter could outshine everything that's come before. To fully understand how this escalated, let's start with the foundation. YoungBoy's career thrives on authenticity. His music is raw, emotional, and often confessional, drawing fans in through a sense of intimacy. But that same unfiltered approach also exposes him to overreach. Rumors, no matter how small, can snowball in online echo chambers, and that's exactly what happened here. A vague post or a clipped video becomes evidence, a talking point, or a rallying cry for various factions. The cycle feeds itself, growing larger with each share, like wildfire on digital kindling. When bigger voices started entering the conversation, the framing shifted. This wasn't just gossip anymore. It became a privacy battle. The streamer's comment, though general, resonated precisely because it echoed YoungBoy's silent strategy. The words suggested nuance in the pause, perhaps hinting at unspoken reasons behind his restraint. Meanwhile, the high-profile influencer's tweet amplified calls for empathy, sparking long threads on celebrity mental health, online toxicity, and the ethics of speculation. These interventions, indirect as they were, added legitimacy to the narrative, turning the story from a fan-based rumor mill into a mainstream discussion. Suddenly, what started as clips and whispers became a larger commentary on boundaries, ethics, and respect in digital spaces. The deeper conversations around identity and personal rights were pivotal. They forced a reevaluation of online behavior. Do fans and observers have the right to demand labels and explanations from public figures, especially someone like YoungBoy, whose life story includes legal struggles, personal hardships, and intense scrutiny? In a society increasingly aware of the cost of judgment, this narrative became broader than the original rumors. It became a discussion about inclusivity, empathy, and the impact of parasocial relationships on real people. Yet, despite these larger conversations, the core fixation remained: clarity, or the lack of it. Fans were frustrated not just by what they saw, but by what they didn't. They felt invested, entitled even after years of support. The tension underscored the pitfalls of parasocial bonds. You feel connected, but that connection isn't reciprocated in the way you want. Then came the deletions, which added a new layer of intrigue. In a world where digital content is permanent, or at least seems to be, the sudden erasure of posts, videos, and accounts suggested intervention. Were cease and desist letters involved? Was there behind-the-scenes management at work? Or did creators voluntarily retreat after realizing they'd gone too far? Either way, the narrative shifted from open debate to shadowy intrigue. Speculation about what happened behind the scenes became almost as consuming as the original rumors. People began asking, if these accounts and threads were removed, what else is happening off-screen? Who is controlling what we see? And why? The rumored final statement built hype akin to a season finale. When it dropped, it didn't explode with drama or rage. It landed with quiet, almost philosophical ambiguity. YoungBoy said, "People gonna be who they are, and people gonna say what they wanna say." Short, calm, unflinching. Genius or maddening depending on your perspective. That line could mean acceptance of oneself, acknowledgement of others' opinions, or a mix of both. Its openness ensured continued engagement. People dissected every word, tone, and pause. Fans celebrated the restraint, critics demanded more. The brilliance of it, or the frustration, was that it didn't definitively resolve anything. It didn't deny the rumors, nor did it confirm them. It simply existed, forcing interpretation. Post-video, the digital erasures intensified. The absence of previously active insider accounts, deleted threads, and missing receipts amplified the narrative about control. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about what YoungBoy said, it was about what vanished. It became meta-commentary on online curation. Who shapes truth in a digital landscape? Who decides what narratives survive and which are wiped? In many ways, the saga became self-referent. Teal, reflecting the mechanics of rumor, speculation, and the power dynamics behind content creation and deletion. Ultimately, there is no clear resolution. The video, the deletions, the commentary, they all leave room for evolution. The impact is already evident. Perceptions have shifted. Fans are divided. The online ecosystem has been altered. Even without confirmation or denial, the saga has changed the narrative around YoungBoy, influencing how he is perceived and how future speculation will be handled. If additional clips, statements, or insider input emerge, they could dramatically reshape public perception yet again. Now, let's talk about cultural context. YoungBoy hails from Baton Rouge, a city and community known for resilience amid adversity. His background colors how these rumors and his responses are interpreted. Issues touching on personal identity are particularly sensitive, given hip-hop's history with labeling and judgment. The saga doesn't exist in a vacuum. It reflects broader societal shifts toward inclusivity, empathy, and the recognition that public figures are also human beings navigating complex lives under scrutiny. The larger voices that entered the conversation were instrumental. The streamer's remarks suggested nuance in silence, hinting at reasons why YoungBoy might choose not to engage publicly. The influencer's tweet, advocating live and let live, challenged the obsession with labels and demanded a broader perspective. These interventions framed the conversation in terms of human empathy, reminding audiences that celebrities are people, too, not just content to consume or decode. Ethical debates also flourished. Is speculation harmless fun, or does it exert harmful pressure on someone whose life is already complicated? YoungBoy, at the time under house arrest scrutiny, faces a unique set of pressures. Add online speculation into the mix, and the stakes are real. Persistent demands for clarity ignore his established pattern. He communicates on his own terms, often through music rather than direct statements. Fans' frustration, though understandable, demonstrates the perils of parasocial dynamics, the sense that one has a stake in someone else's life, even when that connection is one-sided. Deletions, meanwhile, became a focal point of accountability discussions. Should those spreading rumors face consequences? Or does free speech protect them entirely? The erasures themselves, whether orchestrated or voluntary, added tension and intrigue. Suddenly, absence became as meaningful as presence. The rumored final statement acted as a cliffhanger, a pivot in the story that allowed speculation to continue without giving away definitive answers. The calm, direct delivery contrasted sharply with the chaos online, creating an almost cinematic pause that demanded interpretation. The line itself, "People gonna be who they are and people gonna say what they wanna say," is endlessly debatable. Is it philosophical resignation, subtle confirmation, or a privacy assertion? Its brilliance is in its ambiguity. It doesn't resolve anything but guarantees that conversation continues. Fans dissected every angle, tone, inflection, context, and delivery. Interpretations varied wildly, reflecting the fractured nature of the audience. Echo chambers formed instantly, each reading the line in ways that reinforced their biases. Further deletions post-video amplified the theme of control. The story shifted from content itself to absence. What is removed often tells as much as what is left behind. For some, this suggested deliberate curation, a hint at strategic narrative management. For others, it fueled conspiracy theories, feeding speculation about legal action, internal management, or other unseen pressures. The digital landscape transformed into a chessboard, with moves and countermoves visible only in fragments. Even without a confirmed conclusion, the saga's impact is undeniable. Perceptions have shifted. Fans are divided. Online discourse has mutated into multiple layers: philosophical, ethical, emotional, and analytical. The narrative has expanded beyond mere rumor, becoming a case study in digital-age celebrity, the power of ambiguity, and the dynamics of attention. Social algorithms played a critical role in amplifying the saga. Controversy and ambiguity drive engagement, ensuring the story reaches diverse audiences and remains visible. The addition of prominent voices, streamers, influencers, and media outlets further magnified reach. At the same time, the privacy angle humanized YoungBoy, reminding the public that celebrities experience real stress, pressure, and scrutiny. Yet the fixation on clarity demonstrates the addictive nature of online drama. Audiences crave resolution, but digital ecosystems thrive on ambiguity and sustained engagement. In the end, the saga highlights multiple dynamics: ambiguity as strategy, silence as a form of communication, erasure as a narrative tool, and the dual-edged sword of authenticity. Every clip, every statement, every deletion contributes to the evolving story. It demonstrates how modern celebrity exists at the intersection of perception, speculation, and engagement, where the absence of confirmation can sometimes speak louder than a direct statement. So here's the real question for you. Did NBA YoungBoy address the rumors, or did he intentionally leave them open-ended? Was his video a stand for privacy, a philosophical insight, or a coded message? The online world is split and your interpretation matters. This is your chance to weigh in. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did he bring closure, or did he leave the door open for speculation? Was it a privacy statement, or is there something deeper? If you've been following the saga, hit like to show you're engaged. Subscribe for updates and make sure notifications are on. because the next twist could change everything. In this story, silence, ambiguity, and deletion are as impactful as any direct response. The next chapter could redefine how we perceive YoungBoy, online rumor cycles, and the mechanics of digital celebrity in a hyperconnected world. At the end of the day, this is more than a rumor. It's a reflection of culture, psychology, and digital dynamics. YoungBoy, through a single line, a pause, or a missing thread, has crafted a narrative that continues to evolve. He has forced the internet to grapple with questions about identity, privacy, ethics, and engagement, all while remaining mostly silent. That, more than any rumor, may be his most remarkable move yet. So where do you stand? Did he address the speculation, leave it open-ended, make a privacy stand, or send a profound message? Drop it in the comments now. I'm reading every single one. Like if you stuck through, subscribe for full coverage and keep notifications on, because whatever comes next, it's going to be big. The saga isn't over and the internet is waiting for the next move. Are you ready?